webinar. And today's topic is leveraging Claude AI on SAP, from landscape insight to governed AI operations. I'll start with some quick introductions. I'm Richard, Senior Vice President and Chief Revenue Officer at 2i Solutions. And with me we have Praveen, our CEO and SAP leader, who spent nearly 3 decades within SAP. And Aditya, who's a Chief Architect and CIO for SAP AI, and who'll run today's live demonstration. One promise up front, this will not be a slide session. In about 15 minutes, you'll watch Claude working inside a real SAP environment with a qualified person reviewing and approving every step. Everything is recorded and you'll get the replay. Next slide, please. Here's how we'll spend the next 45 minutes. We'll spend a few minutes setting up the problem, how to effectively change the dynamic scale of your SAP operations. Then we'll present our solution, the pain points, and how we solve them with real use cases and business outcomes. Then the heart of the session, a live demonstration, and we've allocated a full 15 minutes for your questions at the tail end. We have an administrator. If you could put your hand up during the Q&A, someone will unmute you. You can ask your question and the appropriate party will answer. Please also use the Q&A panel library liberally as we go, and we will answer questions at the end of the tail end of the session. Before we start, there is a 30-second poll on your screen. We wanted to ask the question, what's your biggest SAP operational pain point? Is it documentation debt? Is it technical landscape assessments? Is it a fragile regression testing or ABAP expertise? Please pick one that hurts the most. We'd be very interested to see if this what the result is and share that with you later on. I'll now turn it over to Praveen.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Let me re-emphasize a little bit on our subtitle here, from landscape insight to governed AI operations. In my points that we have gone through, I have noticed that we are having 4 main points in most of them. And it starts from the documentation debt. Believe me, we have been in a number of conference rooms when we are asked to solve a problem for a solution that was designed 20 years back, or the source code that was written and the documentation has not been updated. What do you do in those scenarios? You ask, I need 2 developers, some content, and few weeks. Not anymore. With the Claude AI applications, we can do this kind of work in days, if not hours. That's the beauty of this application. Let me talk about second scenario. A number of times, each one of us, we are giving the mandate to have the clean code. But whatever mandate you have, custom programs, you need custom enhancement. You need all those security roles and everything. And the problem is even more complex when you inherited a system that is started 20 years back, or everywhere, there's data everywhere, duplication is there. You want to do the system assessment, but how long will it take? Weeks, months. That's not anymore. With the cloud application and scenarios and the solution that we are proposing and presenting you today, we can do this assessment, enhancement, and improvement within weeks, not months. That's the second problem statement that I want to put forward. And the third one that we always face is testing. Testing used to be a very important challenge for us all the time, but it became even more difficult now when we are talking about cloud applications, for example, RISE with SAP and public cloud. In both scenarios, not only you need to do the testing and regression testing and all those things that you used to do with your projects, but now upgrade become an important milestone for us. In public cloud, we need to do twice a year, and also in a couple of years in private cloud. We all want to have some kind of automation in testing that can run my script, but not in a way that a recorded script run. But if there is a data that no longer exists, it can automatically get the right data for me. If there is a step that no longer is valid because of the upgrade, it should find that step itself and help me to do it. That's what we are talking about, automatic, intelligent way of doing the testing. That's the third point that I want to put forward. And the fourth one is expertise. ABAP expertise, S4HANA expertise, that's expensive and difficult to get. So these are the four pain points or the problem areas that we are trying to apply AI to solve them. And today we will go through a demo. We will show you how it can be done. And not only we are talking about that it can be done, but we want human in control kind of scenarios. So it's not like it is going out of there's no human control. We want to make sure that it is. And in a fully secured way, because we understand SAP is the lifeline for any business. Aditya, over to you.
Thank you, Praveen. Can we move to the next slide, please? Before we zoom into our today's demo, here is the map where cloud helps automate SAP work, always under human control. For the decision makers in the room, the headline is simple. This spans your whole SAP lifecycle and not to be used for a narrow task. And for the architects in the room, here are the details. On the left side is implement and migrate, getting to S4HANA faster, cheaper, and safer. The AI agents built on top of cloud can scan every custom object and produce a disposition inventory in matter of days and not months like it used to. They migrate as well as optimize the custom objects end to end. Hanatization, talk about CDS substitution, clean ABAP, they are able to do all these optimizations using Claude at the core of it. They also are able to generate new ABAP objects from business requirement documentation. We also can leverage Claude to test your custom objects against real production grade data variants and handle selective data migration with quality checks on both source and the target. That is about how we can leverage Claude to run our implementation and migration faster. On the right-hand side, we have run and operate using SAP once it is active in your enterprise for business as usual every day. If you need to get continuous optimization of your S4HANA custom code, the cloud-driven agents can help you. The documentation that will regenerate as the code evolves, talk about master data governance, taking care of duplication, your standards of what material code should look like, all of it can be taken care of. If we want to develop modern Fiori and clean core extensions, or we want to fasten up our support cycles, because now any program can be explained and any defect can be traced on demand. So now we have one platform, one audit trail, one human in the loop model across all of it. Now I could give you a shallow tour of all of this. Instead, because trust comes from depth and not breadth, we'll take one box on this map. Let's talk about clean code, custom code optimization, and show you the whole process working live. Keep the rest of the map in the mind though. The same approach you are about to watch in the demo extends across each one of these. Next slide, please, Praveen sir. Now here's the pattern we promised. What is the pain point? How Claude will help us solve it? Some case study and the business outcome. Now, the pain point, all of us, and Praveen sir put it down very effectively, ABAP written for ECC crawls on HANA. Most migrations fix only the compatibility and stop because real optimization needs rare senior HANA experts. So the performance upside is oftentimes left on the table. How Claude solves it, and this is the key idea of the whole session. We can't just paste raw code into any LLM and hope. Hope can't be our strategy here. A static analysis layer has to first parse each program and create a tree of everything it does, and then tag that tree against the optimization strategy, cut the thousands of lines of code into logical chunks, and then send each of those chunks to Claude with exactly the context it needs, with exact evals that it requires. It will then fix it, test it, verify it, and we can repeat it for objects after objects after object. Now, case in point, we worked with a large global footwear manufacturer where they have thousands of lines of custom code. We optimized the entire library in 2 days with certain heaviest reports showing up to 99% faster runtime on production load. Think of it, if we are able to take your production runtime from 100 minutes to 1 minute, that 99 minute is given back to the business teams, and Claude makes it possible today. And the outcome portfolio wide was 40 to 70% faster code, and the scarce ABAP experts that we have shifted from remediating to reviewing and making sure that the output is verified field by field against production data variant before any transportation happens. So the same pain point is now taken care by from step 1 to step 4. We'll show it to you in demo in detail using Claude as the backbone of it. Now, before I go to the demo, a quick under the hood. Can we go one slide further, please? Can we go back one? Why it won't hallucinate, Praveen sir? Can you go ahead? One more. One more. Just hold on for here. So now this is an important part. 30 seconds on this, why this works, and what is the difference between a demo and a production grade system. Most AI for SAP tools paste raw source into model and hope. And in an enterprise SAP landscape, hope is not a strategy. Like I said, it is not even a control. A hallucinated table or a hallucinated BAPI, which Claude many times is able to do, will result in a production dump or a failed posting. So before any model runs, a deterministic static analysis layer turns the program into a structured strategy tag tree. So the legacy ABAP program is first cut into strategy tag trees, into logical chunks, and then each of these chunks are given exactly the context it needs. Real table and field definitions from the live system are also provided so that there is no scope for hallucination. The parser and the rules are repeated. Model reasons inside the structure it cannot break. And the strategies we tag it against are the same SAP lost principles that all of us already trust in this room. Whether it is about clean, modern ABAP, CDS views, AMDP pushdowns, or clean core. All of it is kind of taken care of while we utilize Claude to inspect and remediate each of the chunk that we send to it. Once the slide back, please. Now in the demo, what we are about to watch are 4 things to look for. Claude analyzing and remediating real legacy ABAP live. Test and documentation will be produced in the same pass. It will not be a separate activity. The tests and the data verification and the documentation will be produced in the same pass, and will give a complete audit trail of what was suggested, what was approved, and nothing will transport to production without a completely human-led UAT and transportation review. We'll also track all these numbers that matter, whether how much time was saved, how many errors were caught and remediated, and how much cost was avoided. I'll take control of the session and walk you through the demo. Just give me a second. So what we have here is, after the analysis, we also help you analyze your universe of all the custom objects. You may have thousands of objects. We'll first help you analyze, classify it against RICE FW. will give you complete business context of what each of that code is supposed to be doing in your legacy system, whether it is pre-upgrade or whether you're on ECC. Will tell you exactly what is happening within each of those. Will also give you the statistics of how much these have been run in last few months or weeks or years, as the case may be. And that will help you figure out what are the objects that I need to work on. Now, once we have identified the objects to work on, we start with each object at a time. And when I say we, it is a set of agents which is being orchestrated by an MCP server, right? Claude as an LLM is at the core of any action that it will take. The first step is analysis of any custom program. It's a static analysis. It is the backbone of everything, whether it is documentation, it is testing, or whether it is remediation. Everything starts with a full static analysis of thousands of lines of code in a given program. Here we'll identify, according to the task at hand, whether it is an upgrade activity or my migration activity, or it is a simple optimization activity. The first thing is to analyze in your legacy, what are the things which are not working, right? So the static analysis will first look at it, create the chunks, understand for every chunk what is the context, whether we need to remediate it, we need to take any action to take care of any issue that it may have. So this is what our set of agents do. It's a fairly tedious task. Manually, this is almost impossible to do for thousands of objects to go into each line of the code and understand where it may break. And while we are doing this, we are also creating a complete summary of what did we find in that set of programs, right? For every program, what were the issues that were identified? What were the optimization opportunities which were identified? And why and how we're going to remediate that. So the first step is the static analysis. The second is, once we know that these are the things that need to be rectified, we call in multiple agents to help run this end to end. Now, if you look at the bottom right corner of my screen, so there are multiple engines which are working here. When I say multiple engines, there are multiple sub-agents orchestrated by an MCP server, which are taking care of all these issues. It may range from, we call it two kinds of issues that is being taken care of here. The first is remediation, looking for any data model changes which may have happened between ECC and S4 or between different versions of S4, right? Where it could be a change in table, it could be a change in the field, it could be a change in the data type, or any field length extensions which may have come into place. We'll take care of all of it. Using the SAP notes and our own graph knowledge base, we are able to identify all such opportunities and then remediate it. The second is to work on the performance optimizations. Internally, we call it refactoring of the custom objects. This could mean resolving of nested loops into parallel cursor, or refactoring of select star to show explicit field lists. In HANA, since it's a columnar database, select star could be a death nail for performance. So we need to make sure that all the stars are replaced with. Whether we have standard CDS views which can be used, can we implement that within the same program, right? So there are multiple strategies which could be given by the ATC checklist. We'll run the ATC checklist also using an appropriate variant. We'll also use our own optimization strategies, and we refactor the entire code. And for all of it, there is an MCP server which is orchestrating it. It is calling each agent, providing it the exact context alongside the chunk of the code, and also telling it which model of Claude will give us the best output. Claude has multiple models and there is a cost factor attached to it also. So the MCP has to know exactly for each of this context and remediation, which Claude model will give me the best output. It will attach that to the agent, and then the agent will do the rest of the job. Now, the third and fourth step is also very important. This is where the trust is earned. We never overwrite the original program. We'll always create a replica of the program and do all our optimizations and data model changes on top of it, so that we always have the source of truth, one. And second, we also have a benchmark to test it against. We will then run our agents. When I say we, it is an agent or orchestrated by Claude. We will run both the original and the optimized version of the report against the same variants. And we'll use it against multiple variants, which are either provided in the system already or will ask for variants from the business teams. We'll run these programs against multiple variants, and every field of every row will be compared. Unless the optimized program produces identical business results, it will go back into the loop automatically. Nothing will ship on vibes, right? And at the same time, we also look at the performance optimization also. We run the SAT report using ADT protocols, making sure that the execution times have improved from original version to new version. And if there are any more opportunities that we can trace from the profile results, our agents are again called into action to do it. And notice, the documentation is also generated in the same pass. A current spec of program that hasn't had one in decade. The documentation debt from our poll paying itself down as a side effect. So once the programs are completely, sorry, give me 1 second, are completely optimized or converted for the new environment, will create both the functional and the technical specification. The technical and functional specification can be as per your business requirement, whatever data you may want to look at. It is able to generate it according to the template that you may have. But this is a very enriched, very in-depth analysis and documentation of your lines of code, what is happening at every part, so that your business teams is not left to guess and they have all the details at their fingertips. Like I said, this is a format that one of our clients had asked for. Depending on what the requirement from the business is, we should be able to tell you exact functional and technical specifications. And while we are at it, give me 1 second. While we are at it, we'll have a complete log of whatever actions our agents are taking. All of these logs, this is a beautiful report generated from the logs which are generated while the agents are working on your problem statement. And this is the part our auditors will ask about. Nothing you have seen transports on its own. Every change sits in a review queue. A qualified person approves and rejects it, and the full trail, what the suggestions were, what the decisions were taken, and what was the reason behind each of these decisions taken by the agent. So you know line by line what was the change made and why did we make the change, so that we know exactly what has happened. And all of it is preserved. AI will propose, but our experts or your experts will cumulatively decide what to keep and how to take it from one stage to another. So for every program, this is something we have delivered. For every program, you will know what were the optimizations done, what did it result in, what was the performance benefit. If it's a matter of migration, we'll tell you all the data model changes also that we had done and at what point of the program. Right? Can we go to the next slide? So this is, in nutshell, a 4-step process for custom code optimization, from static analysis of knowing what your code does, how is it structured, what needs to change, to transformation, agents looking at each of those individual issues and solving it, putting it as a new lines of code. If you see the yellow on the right-hand side is what the agents have put in. They'll tell you what was there before, what has now come. Some of them see more, but the quantum of change is so much. Even if it's a small change, you have to do it hundreds of times. So agents doing it always makes the process more efficient and free of any human errors. Right? We also have things like memory-free agents, right? Memory optimizer agents. This is something nobody else does. Making sure once you're on cloud, memory optimization also becomes important. So we need to keep freeing up the memory for the tasks to proceed. All of it is taken care by one or the other agent. We'll do the validation. It is a data validation across multiple variants, which will be done to make sure that the changes have not affected any change in the business outcomes. So for the same inputs, you will always get the same output. The testing will be completely thorough alongside the performance testing, making sure that the code does not utilize too much memory on your HANA environment. And the fourth, in the same pass, the documentation will be generated. So you have complete end-to-end control over the objects. You own the objects. We have just made the changes. You have the documentation now. Your internal teams knows exactly at what point of the code, what is happening. Right? And this, we talked about one program. The agents can run in parallel across thousands of programs, saving you countless hours and countless manual effort on top of it. I'll just
I would like to just add one line here, just to
Yes,
assess, to make it relevant to my problem scenarios that I put before. So I was talking about 4 problem scenarios. The first was system landscape assessment, enhancement, documentation, and testing. So in that demo that Aditya has put forward, we were able to find out that what should be improved. So it means we were able to assess it. It was only few agents that Aditya have used here. We can run hundreds of agents in parallel, so we can do it much faster. We can go through the complete assessment in parallel, and then we can do all those documentation in parallel and show you what has been changed. So it's totally controlled by the business owner, by the IT owner, and so on. So everything until it is approved by the human will not be or changed or edited there. So that's the kind of beauty of this application is that's totally controlled by human, but it is doing everything automatic. Okay, Aditya. So let me put one more slide for you, Aditya, and then we can go to the next question. I know. Give me 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yes. Now, before I hand it back to Richard for numbers, the first question every enterprise will ask, where does my code go and is it safe? Just to be sure, we are IS SOC 2 and ISO 27001 certified. We follow DPA, what our clients adhere to. Now, in terms of the deployment, the platform runs on any cloud environment, whether it is Azure, AWS, GCP, wherever you are there, whatever data residency your compliance requires, we are able to follow the exact same standards and needs. We connect to SAP through standard sanctioned protocols, RFC, BAPI, and ADT with limited access. There are no backdoors into your system. The second is training of models using our proprietary code. So just to reassure, we work with Anthropic under commercial terms. Customer data is not used for training, full stop. Neither is your proprietary code. And anyway, majority of our agents, most of our agents will only look at the data models, the semantics, and the schema of the data, and not the inherent values of the data ever. So your data always stays safe, while that is never exposed to any LLM or even to our agents. Now, what leaves our environment? The architecture confirms that the full landscape never leaves the environment, even the lines of code. Not the entire lines of code is never exposed to any LLM for any process. We parse your code locally, break it into context tagged chunks, and only the targeted chunks needed for the task ever goes to the model. The entire scope never is exposed at any point of time. And just to reassure and reiterate, 2i Solutions is an SAP partner. Everything here adheres to the SAP licensing and compliance and compliance standards. Richard, over to you.
Thank you, Aditya. Wow, interesting stuff. And that was a great live demo. To close the demo, the same AI deployed on a live client instance typically delivers 40 to 70% faster code, 60 to 80% fewer database reads, and with the best case results of 90+% on the heaviest report heavy code. Output is verified field by field against production data variants before transport, and we've had 0 production regressions to date. At 100,000 line scale, executed in days, not quarters. Thanks so much. Over to you, Praveen.
All right. So this is the time I think we should go to more of our question and answer session. We are very much on time. Lines are open for the questions.
I think we have one question in the Q&A chat, and if someone wants to ask a question, if we could ask you, just please hold your hand up. You'll be unmuted, can ask your question live, and our experts will answer it for you. But the first question we have comes from Mayuri, and it's, how do you address the security concerns for any sensitive data sitting inside SAP while exposing it to LLM and agents? And Aditya, I don't know if you want to take that. You're unmuted, Aditya, so it's fine.
Thanks, Mayuri, for asking the questions. Like I said, the data which is sitting inside SAP is not exposed to LLMs and agents. What it is looking at is just the lines of code and the structure of the table, the schema of the table, the data dictionary of the table. What resides in the table is never exposed to an LLM. We don't work on the data. So most of the use cases that we talked about, 99.9% I can say can be done on SAP by just looking at the semantics of the SAP's internal schema. So the data which is a company's or enterprises backbone is never exposed, right? And the agents will typically only have the read-only access. They will not have a write access or delete access, so they will not go on to harm anything which already resides on your system, right? And even within the code, sometimes what happens in the code, there are hard codings. So there could be, some PIAs which might be exposed there. So we have an agent which masks all of it before a chunk is created. So the code, when it is read from your server to our agents, there is an agent in between which will mask any PII or any hard-coded data which can be company specific, and then only the lines of code with the semantics comes to the agent to work on top of it. So that data never touches. And also how I give the access to the agents, like anybody working on your SAP system, any person, anybody is your material department, your finance. So the agents are also given an access according to the same work that they're going to do.
So what Aditya mentioned is that not only we are controlling it by the roles that will be given to a specific agent, but in addition to that, not a single data is moved out of your landscape. So it will stay there. Some chunk of codes only metadata will be used within LLM, and that's it. So there is no data security issue at all.
Great, thank you. Can you please unmute Ivan? Ivan has a question, Kamal. Sorry.
Yeah, hi. It's Ian.
Oh, sorry, Ian. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Just a quick question. I'd like to know whether there is an SAP specific Claude LLM that does all the heavy lifting.
Unfortunately, at this point of time, we don't have a direct LLM and cloud which can do the heavy lifting. There is a lot of internal training which has to be done on top of these LLM models which Claude has for it to understand the SAP, right? So there is no particular model which can do the heavy lifting. When we try to use the models without putting our own set of conditions on top of it, it hallucinates a lot. It will create a table which does not exist, or it will create a field which the table did not have, or it will create a BAPI which does not even exist in the given system. So we have to create all these boundaries. So we do it by providing the context for every chunk. What is the definition of the tables involved? What are the BAPIs which are involved? Give the complete description of it. If it pertains to CDS views, we have a separate graph of the CDS views which we have built on top of the SAP's built on top of SAP Notes, which helps it identify the equivalent CDS views which have been released and what is the definition of each and every column there, right? So directly using an LLM may work for smaller chunks of work, but if you talk about or any large execution or any large task that we need to do, it still does not work the best.
So just once again, for my understanding, the SAP is providing software wrappers that extract the prompts in software engineering terms and feed that to Claude, which then understands it. So Claude's not aware of any SAP specific, the way SAP designs its table, the BAPIs, the CDS views. Claude knows nothing about it. It's the SAP software wrappers that feed it. Is that correct?
Yes. It could be SAP's wrapper or somebody like us. We'll create our own wrappers on top of it to do it. So far, Claude's in general has not been able to give a very credible. See, we are working with enterprises. We can't have anything probabilistic. We want it to be 100% accurate in as little iteration as possible, right? So we need to make sure all these harnesses are attached on top of the foundational models and then fed into.
Okay, thank you.
Here that comes from Jawadi. How does this differ from SAP ABAP Joule agent, which uses ABAP AI model? And I don't know who wants to take that. Maybe Aditya, you want to take that?
Right, I'll take that question. So SAP ABAP Joule agent is something very similar to what we do, but it takes a co-pilot approach. A human will monitor whatever the agent tells you and do it. In our case, that human is also replaced with an agent. It looks at the output of the cloud AI, which has been trained on ABAP and SAP's other nuances, right? So you give it a problem statement, it will look at the options and it will accept or move on to the next step. So you don't need to sit and monitor the output of an agent in a co-pilot manner. So what it frees up your time to run multiple simultaneous processes in parallel and do a lot more with time. Another thing is Joule for ABAP is embedded inside the SAP stack, right? So calling SAP managed LLMs by SAP AI core, our approach also can be run outside as an independent agent layer. So even if you're not an SAP, you want to come to SAP, we can start utilizing our AI core through multiple our own independent MCP architecture to help you get on SAP also faster, right? And like assist versus autonomy, co-pilot versus and completely AI agentic way of doing things, right? And scope Joule works on the object open in your editor. You need to open each of the object and then the Joule will be able to work on it. The agents work across the whole landscape. You can do mass code analysis, cross-system comparison, batch remediations with the agentic approach that we are putting forward. Plus, the model choice in here, since it is an independent pathway, we can choose the correct model as per our requirement. With Joule, changing of model is somewhat not very flexible at this point of time.
I would like to add to Aditya that both of them are not the replacement of each other. That Joule has its own benefit, like it's totally integrated with the system within SAP, and it is working in a little different way. This solution that Aditya and the Toy Solution team is kind of describing today, it's more a complete landscape solution. So we are not working on one by one program and so on. We can do the complete assessment. We can run in agentic way. And like Aditya mentioned, it's totally in our control which LLM we use and which not. So these are some of the benefits that are different here. I should not say benefit, but that's how it is different than the Joule here. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. Shantanu has a question. Kamal, if you could please unmute them.
Hi. Thank you so much for the webinar. I would like to ask a very small question. So with tools like Claude being adopted in SAP development, So, as someone very early in SAP development or as a SAP ABAP developer, what skills should one focus on to stay employable and competitive over the years?
It's a very good question. One thing that you need to do is to understand the basics of SAP very well. What is under the hood? How does it work? What are the table? What are the schemas? Right? And use AI to learn all those stuff. Because all of this is the real hardness that you put outside your core foundational model to make AI work for SAP. Work in SAP, work on SAP, work for SAP. So in any of those pathways, our understanding of what is under the hood for SAP is very important. Right? Sometimes it seems very simple, but we need to know exactly what is happening in SAP. What are the different protocols under which you can communicate with the SAP systems, right? What makes or breaks the policies of SAP, right? So that we are not doing anything which is in contravention with the accepted and appreciated policies that SAP put forth from time to time. Right? So knowing all these nuances outside of just working with the Claude is also important for us to make the best use out of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Richard,
Thank you so much.
Richard,
Yep.
from the time perspective, 2 minutes are left.
2 minutes are left. Yes, I saw that. We
Yeah.
have a number of questions. If we don't get to your question in the live session, we'll endeavor to have it answered and sent to you via over email, just in case, because I know we're running in time. While Heel has a question, Kamal, if you could please unmute.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for inviting us for the informative session. And I like every details. It was fast and reliable, and it's good. And my question is if I need to make the agentic AI is by specific features, like if I say, and just this AI is work for the finance, and this AI I need to work with sales, and this AI I need to work with the inventor, for example. There is a solution to implement inside this app. This is my question. Thank you.
Sir.
Actually, I need to get a little bit again. I'm sorry, I kind of missed that one. Can you say again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, if I need to implement it, the cloud AI with specific features, for example, I would say I need this for finance, the AI. Can I do it inside the SAP or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me
My
go now.
features.
I'm sorry, first time I missed your question. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I understand the question is. If I want to apply this application only for finance, can we do that? Or if I want to create a new application in Claude only for finance, can I do that? Is that the right question?
Yes, that's the right question. And also, and also if I need to put some rules, I say, hey, I have multiple users, so each user he can make the prompt, and the other reviewing, the other testing, the other publish it to production.
In fact, that's how we are doing it today.
Okay.
Because what we are doing is, if you saw some of the lines, I know there was too much information given to you. So Aditya was talking about that we ground it. It means he was more talking about in reference to technical naming and technical BAPI names and CDS view and so on. But we can very well limit it by the number one, by the user profile, like Ashish asked before. So we can limit it by the user profile, the agent. In addition of that, we can make the rules on the top of that one. For example, you want to make sure that no confidential data is used, or you can that we can very well do again by role. But we can even further write the rules on the top of that, what AI is doing itself. So certainly it is possible to do, and we are already doing it in our current application as well. And
That's
more
great.
we can discuss with you if you have any specific scenario that perhaps I didn't answer.
Yeah, that's clear. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, Richard, you want to take, or it's over?
I think we're just at time, so I think what we're going to do is wrap it up now. But if there's any other questions that we didn't get to and we see them in the chat there, we'll certainly reach out to you via email and try to answer them as best we can. If you wish to follow up, and I'll just give it to Praveen in a moment, if you wish to follow up for anything that you've seen here in the webinar, we do have another series of 4 webinars running. You can go to our registration website and register for those future webinars. Also, if you have any inclination that you'd like to engage for this AI product or any of the products that we've talked about here, we're happy to meet with you on an individual basis. All of our pricing is done based on individual specifications and asks. So, Praveen, I'll let you wrap it up.
Thank you so much, everyone, for making it a very useful time for each one of us. I want to say one thing, that sometimes, in fact, I was mentioning that before, and it's very true for the next sessions. Sometimes our email go to spam, so please look into that as well. And please join the next 4 sessions that we are doing in this webinar series. We'll be talking for next 4 use cases as well. So hope to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.